After an off day yesterday, the Duluth Huskies look to bounce back and begin an important two-game series against the red-hot La Crosse Loggers. And with that, we say good evening and welcome to the ballpark. I'm John Willis. That's Jordy Fee-Platt. And Jordy, two teams that are kind of on opposite trajectories right now. Duluth 1-3 in their last 4 games. La Crosse is off to an 11-1 start in the second half.
It's been such an impressive second half for La Crosse, no question about it. Huskies had some trouble against the Rocks their last time out on Sunday. The Rocks took advantage of walks early in innings and then got a lot of timely hits, got some help from defensive mistakes from Duluth, and they just continue to get timely hit after timely hit to pour it on and get 12 runs. A big response because they'd only gotten 3 hits at home against Duluth in the night before. So Huskies will need to bounce back. They're facing a really hot La Crosse team who's now won 6 in a row. Troy Leneve, a home run against Waterloo. That was a crucial 2-game series between the two best teams in the Great Plains East, and La Crosse came out victorious with both wins. A big-time 12-11 win. A lot of offense between these two teams, but La Crosse has really set themselves up going forward.
With the sweep of Waterloo, La Crosse now takes sole possession of first place, and so now for the Huskies trying to fight back, this becomes a very important series.
Yeah, a split with La Crosse would have them still 4 games back, but if they were able to get both, they're back 2 games. They're still well within striking distance. It becomes a crucial series because there's not that much time left in this second half.
For our players to watch, we'll look at Cason Wells for Duluth, who's been an on-base machine this season, reaching base in 27 of 30 games played and ranking second in the Northwoods League in that category.
Yeah, it was 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs, a triple, and a sacrifice fly on Sunday despite the loss for Duluth, and he continues to hit to all fields. That's what's been so impressive for Cason Wells. In addition to that on-base percentage, .474. He's also shown off tremendous range in center field, tracking down so many fly balls in deep Wade Stadium like the one right there.
Dylan King will be our player to watch from La Crosse. Right now he's on an 8-game hit streak and has a hit in 13 of the 16 games he's played. Jordy, he's been the definition of consistency in this Loggers lineup.
Yeah, he's been pretty solid defensively, but he's also currently riding an 8-game hit streak, to your point. He was on base 3 times on Sunday versus Waterloo, and the consistency really stands out in this second half for him after a really slow start to begin up in La Crosse.
Our pitching matchup consists of 2 guys that have eaten a lot of innings for their teams. Alex Potter will go for Duluth, who has consistently gone long into games, going 5 innings or more 5 times, with Jalen Worthley going for La Crosse, who has been really good as of late, a 3.15 ERA in his last 4 appearances with a 3-1 record.
Yeah, Alex Potter pitched really well his last time out against Thunder Bay. Just had some inherited runners score when he came out in the 7th. 6 strong innings, though, and the Huskies will need that again against a tough La Crosse lineup. And for Worthley, 5th start of the season after a slow start, he's been much better, allowed 3 runs or less in his last 4. He's a young guy with a lot of talent out of Nebraska. Should be fun to watch tonight.
Very important 2-game set here tonight begins. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll meet the starters. And first pitch is just ahead on the Northwoods League Baseball Network. An important 2-game series between the first place La Crosse Loggers and the third place Duluth Huskies, ready to kick off here tonight from Wade Stadium. Let's meet the starting lineup for La Crosse. Aiden Sweat, who's on a 5-game hit streak, will bat second. Troy Leneve, who was the Northwoods League Player of the Night back on the 16th, will bat cleanup. Sean Montoya will make his season debut and bat 7th, with Gable Mitchell rounding out the starting 9. He'll bat 9th. Defensively for Duluth, a little bit of change in the outfield. It's still Duarte in left, but Adrian Davis will make his first start in center field. Cason Wells in right field. On the infield from left to right, it's Halverson, Medham, Hallquist, West. Tyler Leroy will be the catcher for Alex Potter, one of the normal starters for the Duluth Huskies, making his 7th start of the season, his 8th total appearance, and he's been a guy, Jordy, that has been consistently able to go 5 innings or more, which is exactly what this team is looking for.
Yeah, it was a really impressive start his last time out. 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, but most of those earned runs came in the 7th inning when he came out to have an extra one, and some inherited runners came in to score, so that line a little bit misleading. He was pretty dominant against Thunder Bay on July 11th, so he'll just look to finish off that start strong. He'll work a fastball, slider, changeup, and very occasionally a curveball, but it's primarily the 3 pitches, the fastball, slider, and changeup. A guy with a lot of experience, was with Duluth last summer, pitched in the playoffs, so the Huskies do make a run into those playoffs. He's going to be a guy that they're going to rely on.
Now, obviously, this is a very different looking lacrosse lineup than Alex Potter saw the first time around back on June 11th, but he pitched 6 innings in that 8-2 win, gave up 1 run on 3 hits. But again, very different team as we saw on the road last week, and 17 new players. As you found out, Jordy, it's a very different lacrosse team that this Duluth team has seen, and obviously they saw that back a week ago at Copeland Park where they dropped both of those games, and so looking for their first win against them in the month of July.
Yeah, only a couple of guys in the lineup that we saw when they were last in Wade Stadium, the lacrosse Loggers. Huskies and Loggers have played a couple series at Copeland Park, but up here, only a few guys that are familiar, and one of those is Mick Paul leading off.
And played in 35 games. Quickly getting ahead here, 3-0. But you mentioned it, Mick Paul, one of those guys that's been here since the beginning. It's a lefty-powered lineup for the Loggers tonight. 3-0 from Potter. Fastball right down the heart of the plate. And it's 3-1.
It's pretty amazing what these new guys have done in terms of production immediately, which we'll talk about throughout the game. But oftentimes it takes people a little bit of time to get ready, but that hasn't really happened. This lacrosse team is been really blessed with guys who are ready to go from top programs and swinging the bat extremely well.
Payoff pitch from Potter. That one is fouled off by Mick Paul, who's currently on a 10-game on-base streak. He was 1 for 4 in their last game against Waterloo in a crazy shootout of a game, 12-11. A lot of late runs scored by Waterloo to make that one closer at the end. Payoff pitch will just miss a little bit low and out from Potter, and it's a leadoff walk here in the first.
It's a very competitive 3-2 pitch. It's a really good eye from Paul, and that's what you're accustomed to seeing from him. Discipline at the top of the lineup, a .389 on-base percentage. The .248 average doesn't stand out, but when you can get a guy leading the way with that kind of on-base percentage, that's exactly what you're looking for.
Heavy fastball use. It was all fastballs in the first plate appearance to Mick Paul. Topping out at 91, one at 90, another at 89. That one's lifted into right field to Kaysen Wells off the bat of Sweat. The catch is made, and 1 out is found here in the first.
So Kaysen Wells has been in center field, but with the new arrival, Adrian Davis, and his defensive prowess, Wells moves over to the corner, and it'll be interesting to see how he adjusts to it. He's so great defensively. I don't imagine there being a problem, but it is different.
We've seen Max Coop. He started the year in that center field position, but has moved more into that right field spot with Kaysen Wells, and now Wells moving into that right field spot. First pitch, a strike to Dylan King from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. Right now he's on an 8-game hitting streak. We mentioned him pregame. He's got a hit in 13 of the 16 games he's played. He has been really good in the 16 games he's played. Had a pair of walks July 16th against Waterloo.
Yeah, the Loggers are now blessed with 2 really talented catchers in King and Neary, and King not even behind the plate today. That's the benefit of you can get 2 guys offensively as catchers that are really good. You just put them both in the lineup. We see Neary behind the plate and King at first.
Yeah, it's a talented catcher room. Ethan Fry, too, from LSU, also in that catcher room. They've got a lot of talent in the catcher position. And we see them mix those guys up, sometimes in the designated hitter spot, sometimes moving them to first base defensively. And that definitely helps when you have catchers that can move all over the field, especially with the amount of talented catchers that lacrosse has. 1-2 here from Potter. 1-2, sharp liner down into right field for a base hit. Paul will head for third. Throw will be late. He's in there. There will be runners at the corners here early in the top of the first.
Really nice swing there from King. He struggled to begin the season a little bit, but man, he has caught fire of late. Extends that hitting streak that you mentioned, and good base running as well to get over to third. It's a good pitch on the inner half of the plate, but King just ready for it, jumps all over it, and sets up lacrosse here in the first.
And not the hitter you want to have up here. Troy Laney from Vanderbilt has hit 4 home runs this season, all 4 of those coming in his last 3 games, as they're almost able to pick off King at first. But back July 16th against Waterloo, Jordy 2 for 2, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs. He was the Northwoods League Player of the Night, and deservedly so. Again, those 4 home runs coming in his last 3 games as he swings, fouls one back. One of those coming against Duluth.
Yeah, he has been so impressive coming up from Vanderbilt. It's rare that you see somebody from Vanderbilt who's gotten a lot of playing time, a lot of experience down there at a premier program, and he is showing why, because that on-base percentage is sitting really high, but the power numbers is what stands out.
That one will be well foul and out of play.
And he's looking to give Lacrosse this early lead. The Huskies have fallen behind quite a bit early in games at Wade Stadium, and it's been tough at times to bounce back.
Leneve, who hit 3 home runs as well in 42 at-bats in the spring with Vanderbilt, played in 21 games. 0-2, he lifts that one into left field. Long run for Duarte. He'll make the catch. Tagging is Paul from third. The throw won't be able to get there. It's a sac fly for Troy Leneve, and it's 1-0 Lacrosse in the top of the first.
The run does come in, but you have to feel fortunate to get Leneve out, considering the way he has been playing of late. And you will take the 1 run with all of the production that Lacrosse has had so far in this inning. If you can limit them to just 1, that makes you feel better going into that dugout.
There's Ben Ziegler-Namoa, the two-way player for this Lacrosse team from the University of Hawaii. He steps in with 2 outs. He has been really good so far this season. Another guy who's been here a while, 38 games. You look at the hits, Ziegler-Namoa, 33, which is right up there in the team lead this season. As he looks, a nice pitch low in the zone, in there for strike 2. It's 0-2.
We've seen Ziegler-Namoa out of the leadoff spot quite a bit for this team. Really good contact hitter. And this is kind of situation where you're looking for contact to extend an inning and keep the rally going. Another guy with a really high on-base percentage. So many of them.
Yeah, 426, and he's got a large sample size of it. Again, this being his 39th game of the season. Right now, an 8-game on-base streak as well, and so he continues to get on base for this team. And he's also pitched 12 2/3.
Quite a versatile guy for this Lacrosse team, and they have to feel fortunate to have had him for as long as they have.
Pitched 9 1/3 with Hawaii in the spring. Also batted .301 over at Hawaii. His last start came against Duluth. Back on July 14th, was 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and a walk. 2-2, lined into left field. That's going to get down in front of Duarte for a base hit. Ziegler-Namoa gets on, extends his on-base streak, and 2 on for Danny Neary.
We're seeing Lacrosse hit to all fields early in this game. The sacrifice fly from Leneve from the left side was into left, and see the same from Ziegler-Namoa. They're painting it all around the outfield right now.
So Danny Neary mentioned his talent at the catcher position. Batting average right now leading the team. He's batting .435. Now it is a small sample size, 7 games so far this season, but he's hit a lot of extra base hits, 6 already in 7 games. He has been a big part of their success as of late. Hit a big home run against Duluth last week as well in Game 2.
10 for 23 is 10 for 23. That is incredibly impressive. 3 doubles, a triple, 2 home runs, 6 extra base hits in 10 of these hits. That's really, really good production.
He's had 4 multi-hit games already this season. He was 4 for 8 against Duluth in the 2 games last week, where the Huskies dropped the first one 11-5 and then lost a heartbreaker the next night 7-5. As Neary fouls this one back, count stays 1-2, but Huskies had scored 5 in the top of the 7th to take the lead. They tied it in the bottom of the 7th, and then an error with a runner on second that ended up being a Little League home run would be the difference maker. And those were 2 very tough losses that Coach Pointer mentioned. They were in both of those games. As 1-2 is fouled into the mid of Leroy for strikeout number 1. 1 run comes in off the sac fly from Leneve. We head to the bottom of the first. Huskies up to bat on the Northwoods League Baseball Network. 1-0. Let's take a look at the Duluth lineup. Jared Medham will be back in the leadoff spot, his last time in that role being July 15th against St. Cloud. Brandon Compton is in his usual 3 spot doing the DHing. Mike Hallquist, the league leader in slugging and OPS, is batting 6th, while Adrian Davis will make his Duluth debut in the 8th spot. Defensively for this lacrosse team, it'll be Ziegler Namoa in left with Paul in center. Montoya makes his first start in right field. In the infield, it's Chapman, Mitchell, Sweat, and King. Danny Neary will do the catching for Jalen Worthley, who has been a lot better as of late, the left-handed pitcher from the University of Nebraska. His last 4 appearances, Jordy, he has a 3.15 ERA during that time. He's 3-1 in his last 4 games, 20 innings with 7 earned runs.
Yeah, 3 runs or less in his last 4. He's gone at least 4 innings in all 4 of those, and 5 innings in 3 of the 4. You've said it, it's been really impressive. A guy who didn't pitch much at all at Nebraska, just 10 innings under his belt as a freshman, but a lot of talent coming out of high school, and he's getting the opportunity to prove that talent and just get the reps. We've talked about it so much with summer ball. It's one of those guys who gets to pitch more and see what he's capable of.
Started the season in more of a bullpen role. He's now been moving into that starter role for this lacrosse team as the second half has come around. But you mentioned the Nebraska numbers. It's just crazy. A .84 ERA with an 8-0 record, 68 strikeouts in 44 innings as a senior. He was very good at Lincoln East High School and got to stay at his home state, play with the Cornhuskers, and he faces the red-hot Jared Medham to lead things off in the bottom of the first. And he quickly gets behind 2-0.
Worthley, the Prep Baseball Report's Player of the Year in Nebraska that senior year of high school. He'll work a fastball, slider, changeup. Mixes those 3 pretty well. 54% fastball, about 26% on the slider. We'll see how he tries to attack this tough Duluth lineup.
He's gone fastball in the first 3, has missed. The fastball sits right at about 87 these first couple. Last one at 86, as that one's thrown right down the heart of the plate to Medham. Again, this is a Duluth lineup that hasn't seen a whole lot of lefty starters this season, as they're able to work the count back full. 279 batting average against left-handers compared to 296, which isn't a huge gap. Earlier in the season, it was much larger.
Definitely gotten a lot better against left-handed pitching, was just going to say, no question. Jared Medham, what a job he's done since arriving. The on-base percentage sitting near 500, got the average over 300, and it's been so nice to have him around and know he's going to be here for the second half.
Continues to fight in this at-bat, and we've seen that a lot with him this season. 7 for 16 with a home run, 7 RBIs in his last 5 games. He's been hot all season from the plate. Hit his first home run of the season on the road trip to Rochester, as that one is sent up in the air into left field. Ziegler Namoa giving it a chase. He'll make a long run. He was playing surprisingly in on a right-handed batter. He was shaded a little more towards left center than he was left, and he had to make a long jog to get that one.
Really nice play from Ziegler Namoa. It may not have looked like it, but yeah, as you said, he had a long run and looked like it was going to drop in for a second, but it did not.
Here's Josh Duarte, who continues to hold the league leader in batting average this season, and right now it's not really close on who's following him. He has been very good so far this season, and batting average still sitting close to 400. His OBP is right up there in the league leader as well, being 3rd. He has been all over the place for Duluth, and usually in that leadoff spot, but batting 2nd tonight behind Jared Medham.
Yeah, a little bit of a shift, but Duarte always going to be near the top of the order, and he's been hovering around 400 for the last couple weeks, which is just hard to believe.
2-0, he pops one up, foul. King gives it a look, but it'll get well out of play. He's right now riding a 14-game on-base streak. He continues to steal a lot of bases as well. He's up to 27 on the season. And he's stolen 6 bases in the last 3 games, too. So he is continuing to be aggressive, running the base paths and creating runs for the Huskies. Takes a fastball strike on the inner corner. It's 2-2.
Yeah, he seemed to have spells of lots of stolen bases throughout this season. Moments where he'll just rack them up in a series or a road trip, and that's really nice to have.
Another full count to deal with here for Jalen Worthley. That's what the Huskies like to do, is make starting pitchers work a lot early, because they thrive when they work in the bullpen and get to those bullpen pitchers. That's where they've had a lot of success this year, as Duarte lifts the payoff, fouling out of play.
Yeah, and especially a guy in Worthley who we've talked about having a lot of success lately. You're trying to get him out of his rhythm as soon as possible in the game to force him out early, or to just get some runs off him. If you can just try and mess up his timing a little bit, because he has been really good, as we've mentioned.
Payoff from Worthley. That one will skip in the dirt. Duarte continues his on-base streak, and not a runner you want to get on the base paths.
Yeah, he's just so disciplined at the top of the lineup, in addition to that incredible average, and that's what's so amazing about Josh Duarte and what he's done all season.
And now Brandon Compton following him, one of the best power hitters in the league so far this season. His RBI total sitting at 46 now on the season. But I think the most impressive thing I've been seeing from him late, Jordy, is his plate discipline. That has gotten a lot better. You look at the RBI numbers, which is league leading, but he's now got 29 walks this season. His on-base percentage at .412, and that's been just even more impressive that he's added to his game.
Took the words out of my mouth, John. Really has been impressive. The .407 OBP now. He was pretty close with that on-base percentage to his batting average for much of the season, but he's been able to lay off a lot of the breaking pitches that fooled him earlier in the year, and that's just a sign of tremendous growth.
And he's on an 11-game on-base streak, and he's got 12 walks during that time.
2 more walks on Sunday against St. Cloud. We've been seeing that a lot. He may not get a lot of good pitches to hit because of his power and what he's shown so far this season, and he's content with getting on base via the walk.
1-1 to him, lined right to short with Mitchell, who has shifted. He's going to make a nice throw over to first, and it's in time, and the shift works in the favor of La Crosse. We will head to the top of the second. Loggers leading by 1 on the Northwoods League Baseball Network.